Welcome to APDesign Digital Tools. In this video I'm going to talk about visualizations and how to get them set up. Oftentimes, let's see, let me go to kind of a shaded, a normal view, and let's make sure that this is set up so that's default. Okay, so this is what you would get typically in the shaded view. Rendered, I'll do the same. They're not bad, but they're a little clunky, and I'll do the same with technical. And they're not really set up to for really looking at the world through an architect's eye. So I'm going to go in and we're going to work on edit technical settings, but most of these can be used for the other settings. I mean, each of the display modes have slightly different variances about like what you can or cannot edit for like objects. You can see here there's surface, meshes, points, curves for shaded, and then for rendered there's a very similar thing, but in technical you just get lines, curves, and points. So each one's slightly different and is handled in a different way. But I'm going to go into technical, and I will probably fine-tune shaded too. Those are the two of my favorites. So let's start with technical. You can see that this is somewhat unhelpful, really gobbledygook here. So to get it to what we saw at the very beginning, we're going to first start with the objects, or actually in technical, click on that, and we're going to look at shaded. Right now it's by objects color. I think that's probably pretty good. That allows you to use your layering to control what color each thing is. So this should be set up very similar to what you're already used to. And I'll first turn off hidden lines so that it's a little cleaner. So this is not bad. I can kind of work with this, but let's get it even better. And I think this one, this bright colored one, is actually, I just changed the display color here. So it's going to take whatever display color. Normally you want to use just these, the color of the layer to kind of handle those color choices. But alright, let's go back into display mode, and we're going to just tweak this a little bit more. So curves, I'm going to keep that as object color. Lines, I'm going to change this up a bit. I'm going to start to move silhouette up. You can see that the outside of your building, the profile lines, start to get a little bit heavier. I might stop around 4. That one's kind of a user choice. Let's see if I want to. I think if I go ahead and move those up, again, it's user choice. I'm going to keep those at 1. So this is really simple way of getting a little bit better understanding of the world you're kind of in. Let's see. Change this object. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is just edit a couple more things. The other thing is this scene lighting. I'm not sure what yours would be. I think probably that's the default. I'm going to go ahead and go with no lighting until I decide that I need to show shadows or something. And you'll see that then suddenly every layer color really then shows up as what it is. So that looks pretty good. The other thing, just realize that you have all of these pieces that you can turn on and off, and some of them may be very helpful and some of them might not to have on. So like if you want to go to hidden, that might be the other thing that I might want to change. I'm going to have that as a single color, and maybe that's kind of a light gray. So if I do have it, it doesn't get too obnoxious. The other thing, and this is again a personal choice, but I like to see the world, especially in technical, as if it's a sheet of paper and I'm just drawing on top of it. So I'll go to solid color, and I usually go with white, so that then I can really look at this as a diagram for the massing of a building or whatnot. So I think that's it. Let's go in with shaded now, and we'll just tweak that a bit. So let's see, I'm going to turn off ISO surfaces. They tend to get, I mean, they're kind of nice sometimes, so you can kind of really, especially if it's a curved surface, you can kind of read it, but I tend to have that off. I will also, again, it's user choice, but I'm going to go ahead and turn on a white background, and then I'm going to go into objects to see. I think we've got this kind of already set up pretty good. Colors. Yeah, I'll go ahead and use that. Yeah. And curves, object colors, surfaces. If you do have a mesh, this is where you can start to control how the edges look. And I think that's pretty good. The other thing that you'll notice here that even if you had this color as white, let's go to layers. Let's find out what layer that is. It's trans 3, so that is white. I'm showing up with gray. So again, this is the way you would handle that if you don't want to see, you want to see true kind of colors of layers. It would be under lighting. So you can do a couple of things. You can start to tone down the ambient color. Let's see if that does anything. It turned it down a little bit. The other thing that you can do is just go with, oh, I'm in the wrong thing. Go with no lighting. And again, and this will get it a little closer. Alright, so you never quite get this to be white. What I found is it's set up the default to custom material for all objects. So it's actually using the material's color, default color. So what we can do is turn that to objects color, and suddenly it's a relatively similar to technical mode. So it really is kind of, again, a user's choice whether or not you want this to kind of be a rendered material or a custom material for all objects. It must be holding on to, I guess it's giving it kind of some kind of flat gray attribute for everything. So I'm just going to tend to go there. So again, and technical mode will be a little bit more processing intensive if you got a big model, so it may be that shaded's the better one to use for most things. One last thing to note here is we're going to change the technical settings. I failed to fix the lines so that their object is single color. You'll see over here that each one is now changing, and now we get some of this information that was lost just a moment ago. There you go.